The Zen of Henry Paul. Let me explain. As you can imagine, I talk to three people every single week, and we're usually about 30, 40 interviews behind because I can't get to editing three videos every single week. It's just too much work. But certain artists we want to get out before others. There's just certain conversations I've had that when I get off the phone, I know I'll miss talking to the guy. Henry Paul is definitely one of those guys. One of the most level headed, interesting figures in music that I've ever talked to. I hope I get a chance to talk to him again. So I call this one the Zen of Henry Paul because there's a quote he gives in this. It's very simple, but it's very profound. Henry Paul on rock history music.
You're purging.
Well,
is that the word? Is that too strong a word?
I'm not saying I'm done, but I mean, there's a difference when you're trying to become somebody, and there's a significant difference when you finally realize that you have become who it is you are. And I'm at the place where I finally became who I am. And when you become who it is you are, instead of trying to become who it is you dream of being, you can let go of a few things. I had a really nice home recording setup, and it occurred to me, do I really want to continue writing songs, just continue to beat my head up against the wall and write these songs and do this and do this and do this? Or do I want to give that to my son and let him try and create a musical personality for himself? Because I would love to do this. I have this book that I want to finish and get out there, and I have maybe a solo record to record that has nothing to do with either the Outlaws or Black Hawk or the Henry Paul Band. But other than that, I'm good. I mean, Dixie Highway was really well written and recorded, and It's About Pride was a wonderful, really important record for the Outlaws. So I feel like I've proven my point. I don't have anything really left to prove. And if this book lends any insight into fans as a peek behind the curtain of a musical genre that was enormously important to them, I will feel like I have succeeded in that.
Did American Roadhouse ever happen? Did that TV show, did that come to fruition?
No, we never found a home for it.
Because that sounded like such a great idea.
It was a great idea, but sometimes, and there again, I haven't given up on the American Roadhouse. I think we'll find a place for it. We just haven't found the place. It's a little smarter than shooting alligators in a boat. It's not quite down on that knuckle dragging level of entertainment, but to me, it's a what is that? Educational television, PBS.
Oh yeah.
To me, it's a PBS show. With Bob Seger as a guest, or
How about Bob Dylan? I know you go back and love him from way back when. God,
Gordon Lightfoot just died, who was another huge musical pillar of influence and affection for me as a kid. And I was really endeared to Bob because Bob came out and really laid it on and put it where it belonged. Bob was that sneering, snotty little rock and roll folk singer, but Gordon Lightfoot was this elegant, really beautiful voiced, everybody wanted to be Gordon. If you wanted to be Bob, you had to be a little darker, in the persona. But man, Gordon Lightfoot was like handsome, beautiful, great player, wrote great. He's everything you wanted to be.
Yeah, 12-string guitarist. There you go.
Good guitarist. I met Gordon in Nashville. He was mixing a record in the studio, and he was upstairs in the mix room above me where I was recording. And I actually got to go up, knocked on the door, came in. Yes, my name's Henry. I'm downstairs recording with a group called Black Hawk, and I'm a fan of Gordon Lightfoot's, and I wonder if I could get, a moment just to say hello. And Gordon came to the door, invited me in. signed a record of mine and, anointed me with the high honor of rock and roll and folk music excellence. And it was a 10-minute part of my life that, ranks up there with going to see the Beatles at Shea Stadium. It was just a very big moment. And so I love it.
You saw the Beatles at Shea Stadium. Oh my God. Iconic concerts. Talk about an iconic.
Yeah, their first trip to Shea, I was in the audience trying to hear.
Yeah.
Trying to get my $5 worth, but they didn't play that long. They played for maybe 30 minutes. But it was a really impressionistic 30 minutes, half hour.
Shorts, and then we'll be releasing the entire interview. It was a long hour and a half chat with Henry Paul, who was, of course, as you know, a big part of the Outlaws in their early incarnation. Then he left in the 70s, formed the Henry Paul Band, which was successful, and then the country trio Black Hawk, which still tours today. If you want information on Henry, there are links in the description. But man, in this series, does he tell good stories about knowing the Eagles, hanging out with Leonard Skinner, most notably Ronnie Van Zant, their lead singer, working with Clive Davis. There's so much in this series. If you're a Patreon member, you'll get early access to everything on here. It's pretty juicy stuff. And he's writing a book as well. Remember to pick up a Rock History Music t-shirt and hats. You can get your own Rock History Music baseball cap now. Join our Patreon, as I said, get early access to everything. Links in the description, our TikTok, check out the Facebook group for Rock History Music. Stay in contact with us. We'd love that. All the information's in the description. I'm John Beaudin. More from Henry Paul in the next 2-3 days. This is Rock History Music.